Welcome to the Jump Ball Show. I'm your host, Mo DeKeel, former video coordinator with the Clippers, Spurs, Team Australia, right for Bleacher Report, podcast for The Athletic, right for The Athletic. Stream here on Twitch, watch alongs on playback, and I think that's about it. And it looks like my mic is still up and running. That's a win for me. Hope everybody's doing well. Not gonna lie to you, we got a ton of stuff to talk about. A massive kind of show today on the Jump Ball Show. I was thinking about it late last night, early this morning. It was like, man, so much happened. I think I do have to do a show. And let's get this party going right off the bat. I just want to talk about the Rozier trade. If you haven't heard, the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets have agreed to a trade. Terry Rozier from the Hornets to Miami for Kyle Lowry and a 2027 protected first-round pick. The fact that the Heat had to attach a pick to Kyle Lowry is really big. Not because just in the sense of like nobody, clearly the market was so low. The only way they can get off of Kyle Lowry's expiring contract, it was expiring. The only way they could have gotten off that contract was by attaching a pick. Like, that kind of says a lot. They were tired of Kyle. It hasn't been the fit I think everybody envisioned. Like, I thought it would have been a better fit as well. I don't think he was happy there. They weren't happy with him. It doesn't sound like Charlotte's going to be the final spot for him. Either they're going to try to move him before the deadline, or, and again, I don't think they will be able to if you think about the fact that it cost Miami a first-round pick to move him. I don't see there being much about that. I think I think it's more likely a buyout, and then he'll end up somewhere else with all that. I like the fit for Terry Rozier for the Heat. I think that's a nice, a dude that can score, tough guard, can shoot it. I mean, we're going to go through the end of that Minnesota-Charlotte game in a little bit, and we'll see some of that stuff in there. Adds a little more help for them, a little more scoring oomph and things like that. I mean, but it's not like, oh, man, the Miami Heat are going to the finals type of trade. Right? Like, I'm not really jumping up and down in that regard for them with that. I think that's kind of the interesting piece there for them. For Charlotte, again, Charlotte's going to start a fire sale. Gordon Hayward's they're probably going to try to trade Gordon Hayward. If they can't, they'll buy him out. But I won't be surprised if we start to see more moves from Charlotte. I think Woj might have tweeted it out, or Shams, or one of the newsbreakers kind of saying as much. But I think just keep an eye out on that. Daman, I don't care about Tristan's drugs. It hurts the Cavs considering the fact that they're out Evan Mobley, but still, like, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't. Flavor, who gives a fuck? Ryan Cortez, I like him, nice dude. I like the Heat in general. I'm not worried about fans coming at me. I am just to steal a line from Zach, I am just an honest podcaster. But it'll help them. I just don't think it makes them that much better. That's all. With all that stuff. Let's see. And that's kind of it on the Rozier trade. I don't have much more to go with that. Again, it's just the volume. It's not a massive volume situation. There's just not a lot of thoughts to have about it. One thing I found interesting, there's rumors now that the Lakers are looking at the potential of trying to trade for Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell in the offseason. So the key, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but the key to that is if that's what they're looking at, if they're thinking of like, hey, we're thinking of making these moves in the offseason, which will probably cost them, as I think it's like 3 first-round picks. That's not a trade they can make now. That's something they can make after, I think, the draft, so that they have more draft picks to be able to add into the pile. That just means they're not going to make a move in the regular season at the deadline. That means they don't like what's out there right now, is kind of my guess. Terry Rozier was a target for them to keep an eye on. Like, I just saying, like, just kind of Laker fans who are, keen on like the Lakers need to make a massive trade. We need to shake things up. It doesn't seem like anybody wants Zach LaVine, including the Lakers. And I think you're looking at all of these things, and I think they're looking at it going like maybe we go better if we wait till the offseason and go for a bigger fish. Between those two guys, I like Donovan Mitchell as a better fit with LeBron and AD. Mitchell can kind of play kind of that Kyrie role with LeBron. I think it'd be a bit interesting in that regard. I don't think Mitchell and Garland are a good fit together. I think that's kind of been proven at this point. The ball ends up being in Mitchell's hands way more than I would like. And I think it'd be in his hands less if it's a LeBron-led team versus a Darius Garland-led team. So I think that's kind of it right now in terms of the trade stuff and things like that. And like I said, excuse me, packed show. Got a really packed show. We're gonna go over Joel Embiid's 70 points. We're gonna go over Cat's 62 points. We're gonna go to the end of games of that Minnesota-Charlotte game and that Phoenix-Chicago game. And if anybody was on the playback last night, I hope you remember when I said it, because I definitely looked up, saw the score of the game, and saw Chicago was kicking Phoenix's ass, and I said Chicago's going to blow this game. Phoenix is going to find a way to win it. And they did. Just saying. I wish I was smart enough to put my money where my mouth was and bet it, but I also don't live in a DraftKings state, so couldn't really do it on my own and all that fun stuff. But great. Let's get to Embiid's 70-point game, which is really impressive and whatnot. I mean, he just full-on won in the zone. He beat the crap out of the Spurs. Yeah, not a great team. Struggling a little bit. Struggling a lot. They're 8-34 now, 8-35. It was interesting. There was some stuff there. He tortured everybody, including Wemby. But one thing I'll say, Wemby had a nice little offensive game, had flashes as well. We're not going to get into that. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Wembanyama. Let's just go right into Joel Embiid. Let me know if my mic is... Let me just check. My mic's working. We're good. All right. So here we go. Off the rip, it's this mid-range jumper of Embiid's. He's perfected this now. We're going to get another one right here. It's a decent contest from Wemby, but not enough, and Embiid's just so good with that. This was just pure bully ball. This was just purely, I'm going to muscle you down. It's a little, high-low action. Wemby just never stood a chance. That's, again, where Wemby's got to get stronger. Now, this was probably one of my favorite ones, if I think this is the one it is. Just a great flash from Batum, right? They're doing a good job. You got Zach Collins sitting on Embiid's high side. Great. Embiid does a good job getting under him. And as soon as it goes, spins, Zach Collins now out of position. Nobody's in between Embiid and the basket. Sohan's trying to leak out to Oubre. Just big-time stuff right there. Now he has Sohan on him. They're looking to go double. Kicks it out. Batum misses it. Just battles on the offensive rebound. Another one. He was just unbelievable last night. Here's one in transition. You can't let him get to that spot that comfortably. I'd almost rather force him to drive more than to just let him flow right into this shot so relaxed and comfortably the way he does in that one. Korkmaz with the miss. Just another one from Embiid. He's just going to town on them. He's crushing them all. This was the funny one to me. Good job from McDermott rotating over. Osman comes to double. Zach Collins underneath the rim. Embiid just goes through all of these guys. Kind of ridiculous. Here's what should have been a turnover. Not. Embiid gets it. Has Wemby on him. Sohan. Here's my one thing. Sohan, if you're going to come. Don't hesitate. Just jab, step, jumper. I think you need to get into Embiid's space. You need to crowd him a bit more. I think that's something that I think Wemby's thinking he's got the length. He can contest it. I think you got to crowd him. And if he blows by you, he blows by you. Here's one off the roll. This was just unfortunate. The Spurs want Wemby to leak out. My only thing, if the shot's here, I don't want you leaking out. I want you leaking out on threes, not on this one. This is something the Spurs want because this is how they get an easy Wemby post-up in early transition. He runs out, get the offensive rebound for the Sixers. Oubre with the miss. Joel Embiid with a bucket. Here we go again. Pick and pop. Just too easy. Too seamless for him. You got to try to make him feel more uncomfortable. Yo, that's just weight room. There's nothing to say here. That's just weight room. I just want to check one thing, guys. How are we doing? Is the stream working? Is it lagging a lot? Are the videos lagging? I can't see it because I have the video up. If somebody wants to let me know that in the chat, please do. Okay, as long as it's good on most people's ends. I apologize if it's lagging for some of you guys. I am probably in need of a new laptop at some point. Gonna be a while. Weddings are expensive. All right. Another pick and pop. And this is my point here, right? Like Wemby, I want Wemby to crowd him right here. Even on the jab step, right? It's a nice jab step from Embiid. That just gets Wemby to back off. And just opens up the space he needs. I just want you to crowd him. Again, too comfortable. Too comfortable on all of these shots. This is just good basketball. This is just good basketball from the Sixers. And this is called a short action. Oh, never mind. I thought it was Batum who came across. But Batum goes into the dunker spot off the screen. With Maxey coming down off the screen, like Sohan's in a tough spot. He's got Batum and Embiid rolling. You got Jones too far behind the action. He hits Batum, but Sohan goes that way. Johnson's in a tough spot now because he's got Embiid and House in the corner. For me, in my opinion, go take Embiid if I'm Johnson. He never gets in the way. Too easy for Embiid. Just good footwork here. He's just crushing them. Again, too easy, too comfortable. Jab step with ease, all that stuff. Too much space, too relaxed. Here with the early post up. This is the problem in transition. You can't play the high side unless you know Keldon Johnson's here. And this being early in transition, early offense, that's a bad position to be in if you're Collins. Because by the time he gets it, it's too late. There's no help. You also need better ball pressure, which, again, hard to get sometimes in early offense. Now he's just cooking. Now he's Billy Hoyle in the zone. Same thing, man. He's gotten them all off of the jab step. Too easy, too comfortable. Every time. This is pretty bad Spurs defense. This is the last one, I think, with the Embiid getting 70. But just full length of the court. Big bucket. Unbelievable, man. Pretty unbelievable. I know there's a lot of stuff where he's got to do it in the playoffs. We need to see him be that guy. We need to see him become... We want him to get past at least the second round, right? Like, in all those things. We need to see him stay healthy or whatnot. I think this is probably his best team to do it with. I think they're overall, right now he's probably the MVP of the league if you had to vote. It's between him and Shea. And I think, it would be pretty close. Belroy, for sure. I also would just preface it is he would play better defensive teams than that. The the Spurs did make it easy to a degree, right? Like he did go to the free throw line 23 times, um, and there just wasn't a lot of fight back from the Spurs. Like honestly, I'd be pretty pissed if I was Pop. Not with the fact that we just got beat by a better dude, but like there wasn't a lot of like. Did you guys feel stressed on a lot of those? Like those jumpers were easy, way too easy, in my opinion. And I think that's something if you're the Spurs, you got to be upset about with how that was. That said, too, you know, that was a monster game from Embiid, and I think that's very impressive in that he's gotten so damn consistent with that shot over the last 3 years. Like, it's not new that he's hitting those shots. I think people last year were like, oh, he can't keep doing it. He's doing it again this year. He's that good at that shot. Like, that says a lot. And I think that's kind of the thing people aren't getting about Embiid right now. It'll also be interesting for the Sixers as they will eventually be playing much stiffer competition, I think, in the second half of the season. You know, they've gotten to feast on a lot of bad teams. I think the second half of the season, their schedule will get significantly tougher. And from that, they'll have to start figuring out, like, oh, crap, man, we got some boys to deal with. All right, I'm going to run a quick 30-second ad, and then we'll go to the next one. Alrighty. Oh man, I think they stole my. I'm watching a video of my uncle's car getting broken into and stolen. Wow. In London. Sheesh. That was real time reaction there. All right. I think we're back from the ad. I'm sure a lot of you guys got some thrilling stuff there. Real quick before we go into Cat 62, if you like what you see, please give me a follow. More importantly, if you really like it and want to support me, subscribe. Help me get more subscriptions. I need to build this thing up. I need to start. I need to do this more, which I'm going to try to do more often with you guys. But let's kind of build this party up and get this back to pretty big levels here. All right, guys. Let's go to Cat 62. I mean, he had 44 in the first half, was completely unconscious. Then we're going to go straight into the Charlotte end of game stuff with Minnesota because I want to talk about it on the tail end. Alrighty. Let me get that video up and ready. I didn't include all 62 of Cat's points because some of them I just were like, it wasn't as fun. But yeah, this is just first play of the game. Goes high-low, comes off the screen. Cat's such a good shooter. PJ Washington has to be up higher on him. You got to be up higher on him. You can't be that far back on him. Too far. Clean look for Cat. Here we go again. Cat this time drives on him. Drives on Bridges. Easy stuff. Pick and pop. I mean, this is just simple stuff right now for Cat. Steps right into one. Again, he's feeling it. He's feeling it like he's on a roll right now, right off the bat. He has ball on him. He's like, cool, I'm going to go to work. This is important, and I kept this part of the clip in because we're going to touch on the fact that Mike Conley wasn't in this game, right? Sat this one out with a tight hamstring. Cat drives baseline. I mean, listen, Cat's got all the offensive moves and skills. Edwards rejects the screen, pick and pop, boom. Horns into a flare. We're going to see it again. We're going to see it over and over again. Like, Cat's just rolling. I mean, at this point in the game, like, you probably should not be so willing to leave Cat wide open. You got two Charlotte guys have their back to him. Bridges tries to contest, forces the pump fake. Too easy. Now he gets a post up on Washington, just immediately goes. I love that. Just immediately says, screw it. I'm going to turn and go. Bridges is late to rotate over. Easy dunk. Get not a ton of resistance, but I'm assuming they were in a zone here because the way they're sort of set up. Too clean for Cat. Too clean, man. One thing I want to point out though too, you would think, yeah, all right, the Hornets are still in striking distance. They come back. The lead gets kicked out to 18, but they come back on them. Again, this is when you're like, all right, I'm red hot. Again, why are we letting Cat walk right into these? Why are we letting Cat walk right into? Sometimes the defense is aiding in these points. See, I like this one better, right? Like PJ Washington at least runs him off the line. Look where he meets him. About a step above the 3-point line. Cat drives by him and attacks, sure, but that's where your rotation and your help's got to be, man. That's got to be Rozier seeing it, peeling off, and trying to take the charge or something like that. Off the jump ball. I mean, that's ridiculous. And they're lucky that wasn't a 4-point play. Here we go. Another horns action into a flare. That's for the first. I went through the first 3 quarters. He was on fire. He was simply on fire, and then he got tired. Went 2 of 10 in the fourth quarter. Edwards was struggling, I think, a little bit with what they were saying in terms of. I thought I saw a report where he wasn't feeling well, and he was kind of struggling a little bit in this game. So it kind of makes sense. Edwards was doing a great job diming guys out. He had 11 assists in that game. But man, you got to come away with the win. You got to come away with the win if you're the Wolves, if your guys putting up 60-something points. And they don't. Let's go to the end of the game. Last under 4 minutes, the Hornets have already taken the lead. It's a 1-point lead for the Hornets. Under 4 minutes. And here's just the important thing. They took Cat out of the game. We're going to touch on that at the end of this. But they took Cat out of the game for these next 3-4 minutes. Horns into a flare into a DHO. I kind of like this. I just wish Rudy would set a proper screen here. Because what you want to do is you want to have Miller really chasing over the top to Anderson. And then that makes it harder for him when they get the DHO to Edwards. Right? Like almost force a switch or whatnot. But nobody really kind of makes any contact on these screens. Bridges stays with Edwards. They get to switch with Washington on him. Just a tough bucket there from Ant. All right, 3:36. You're the Hornets. Got to get a good look here. Run a pin down to try to get, you want to try to get it to Rozier. Bridges says, nah, I got this. Drives into the lane. Kicks to Washington. I mean, he drives into traffic. Like, I'm not in love with this. Washington with a nice layup, though. Good attack from him where Rudy's coming over to help. Washington just, boop, goes. Here we go again now. The ball's in their go-to man's hands. Running a go screen. They get the switch. They get Rozier on Edwards. This is just too much, man. This is where the problem runs into with Rudy on the floor with Edwards. It's just too crowded, man. Look at this, man. He's surrounded. With Rudy on the roll, I mean, everybody's loaded up. There's no reason. Anderson should space. Anderson shouldn't cut. He should space right here. Right? But now it's the paint's crowded and the weak side's locked in. LaMelo gets his hand on the ball. Now it's a little bit of a scramble situation. Nickeil Alexander-Walker misses it. He played a great game. He just missed it. Yeah, he had some big shots earlier in the game. He ended up, again, fatigue gets to you. Yes, absolutely. You got to pick your poison. You're going to live with that. Back to that action. This time they get it to Rozier. He has Walker on him. Stops. I mean, this is a tough shot, man. This is a tough shot. Not a particularly great one. Pretty good defense. Walker meets him there. Stops right there. Fade away. Tough shot from Terry. You just got to shake his hand and, all right. Get you on the next one. Anderson comes off the screen. Rule 1. Don't leave your feet to make a pass unless you're positive you know where you're going with it. The other thing, too, man, throw the lob up. Just throw the lob up. LaMelo's in a good position right here. That pass isn't open. Because he jumps, it's like, oh, crap, I'm screwed. I got to get rid of this. Ends up being a big turnover. Big turnover. Big mistake from Kyle Anderson. He also went to a stupid college. I like that the Hornets aren't playing delay. They don't have any idea what they're doing on offense yet, but I like that they look to attack quickly. Good defense from the Wolves right there. I mean, that's a hell of a contest from Ant. Stops the drive, and then he's just right there on that contest. I don't got anything to say, man. Miller makes a hell of a shot. That's ridiculous. That was a tough shot. Even he knows, like, that shouldn't have gone in. He's probably thinking I should have gotten a foul call, but no. But that shouldn't have gone in. All right, Ant's got to attack now. No, it's not, Zach. You got to finish this, man. And this is one of those things. Man, you need a left hand. If you're McDaniels, you need a left hand. You got to finish that with your left. You get a good drive, you got to finish that with your left. All right, they're picking up full court. LaMelo blows right by him. Forces rotations. They're making the defense work. I know they're working the clock here a little bit. They're making the defense work. That's pretty good defense from McDaniels. I just wish he had a hand up on the shot. Yeah, but it was up against the clock a little bit. They were scrambling. They didn't have anything good going, Badger, so I think that was part of the problem. But all right, down 5, minute 23 left. You're Minnesota. You absolutely need a score here. The quicker, the better. Oh. I mean, Edwards gets a good shot. Pull back, nothing there. Goes in a step back. Not really contested at this point. He just misses. And then P.J. Washington fouls the hell out of Gobert. This is still one of my favorite stuff. And get out of here. What? They caught me? Two-hand shove? And they caught me? Oh, man. Anyways, Wolves get another shot at it. Bad communication defensively, right? Rozier's thinking switch. Bridges isn't. They both go to Cat, who's now back in the game. Great rotation from Walker. I think the foul comes in from Miller. Miller gets him. They don't challenge and knock out for 2 free throws. Offense for defense. They take Cat out. Run something, run something, run something. It's still a one-possession game. Nice little action here. Going to a flare into a comeback. Just nowhere to go for LaMelo, though. And now Anderson's meeting him early, pressuring him. Turns out to be a steal. I don't know if I have the replay in here. Was definitely a foul. Anderson hits him, pokes his way, and definitely hits him in the arm for sure and knocks that away. But here's my problem. Cool. Okay. LaMelo's chirping the whole way down. He needed to be at help, man. He needed to sprint and be here to stop this Edwards drive. Edward gets right in, Draws the foul. He's going to go to the free throw line for 2 free throws. I don't know why I kept this replay in. Knocks down the free throws. 1-point game, 40 seconds left. I do not like walking it up. I do not like running a delay. I'm not a prevent offense type guy. A little bit of a scramble situation. Now he gets the switch. 9 seconds on the shot clock. You got to get a good look. Good defense from Rudy. He just holds him off the whole way. LaMelo's got a jack one right there. It's a tough shot, man. Misses it. Go. Finch calls a timeout, puts Cat in. Again, trying to get offense for defense here. 12 and a half seconds left. Side screen and roll. They get a switch. Cat tries to attack. He 100% got fouled. Watch the replay here. Watch Leaky Black. He totally gets his arm. Doesn't get the ball. Watch it here on the backside. Absolute foul. Should have been called. They don't call it. Okay. Hornets make their free throws. 3-point game. 1.7 seconds left. They want to get it. One, I don't like, again, that the Hornets don't put somebody on the ball. Trying to get it to Edwards going this way. Nothing going. Gobert sets a screen for a pin down for Cat. One thing I'll say, good job with forcing this catch way further out. And just no legs. No legs. You can see it with the way Cat catches it. It's all upper body right now. He doesn't get a chance to bend and reload. That's a really bad loss. Belleray, I don't think that's so much. I disagree with you on that. You have Terry Rozier on you. I want you to drive your way into the rim. And I don't think he was looking for the bailout call. I think he was looking to try to make the bucket. And the guy just hacked the hell out of him and it didn't get called. But this is a massive loss for the Wolves. I think and that's what I'm going to get to in a second, RD. If you have a chance, by the way, go listen to the Charlotte announcer during this game. He was hilarious. His reactions to everything was great. Charlotte might not be a fun watch on the court. He is great. Darkness, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And he didn't drive through 4 guys. They came in rotating in. I wouldn't have it any other. I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. And the ref there on the baseline should have called that. That's definite. I knew it was. I called it when we were watching it in playback. I knew it was a foul. So it is what it is. No, it's not. Heat aren't the final favorites. No, sir. Not yet. Boston's still better. But the thing here is, this is the important stuff, is so when you go and listen to the post-game comments, Chris Finch laid into the team. Edwards laid into the team. This is the thing that scares everybody about this team. This is the stuff that's going to keep this team from being a finals team, and I even think a Western Conference finalist. The maturity level is really bad. Once Cat got going, they just stopped everything and kept trying to feed Cat. But more importantly, you never saw them defend. They created an 18-point lead and then just said, we're done. And that was it. There's a massive difference with how Cat and the Wolves went about his big night and how the Sixers and Embiid went about his whole night. That was normal in the rhythm offense for them. For the Sixers. That was all the stuff they normally get. Cat was, at a certain point started to gun, and his teammates started to gun for him. Like, Edwards has got to get more shots. He had, 2 shots in that whole edit that we saw in the 4 minutes? And granted, Cat wasn't in the game for that. But, you got to have more, man. And I think there was a lot of issues in that regard. And I think that's where Mike Conley comes in. And that's why he's so important to that team. I don't think they lose this game if Connolly's in the game. Kelp, Rozier is nice, but it's not like massively over the top. And I talked about it from the beginning, so you can go catch it on demand. Video on demand, folks. Video on demand. But it's a tough one there, and George. I'm not gonna just blame his teammates. It's him too. It's him too. Defensively, he's not good. There's a reason why they sat him in the last few minutes. Yeah, he was tired, but also defensively, he's not good. That's a problem. That's something that's plagued him for a long time. With all that stuff, that's something that the Wolves like. Okay, I want to see if they learn from this. Oh wait, what? Oh, I was not expecting that. The dude didn't even make it to the All-Star break? Wow. Wow. Holy cow. That's the team didn't believe in him. He gets his money. But that's the team that didn't believe in him. I mean, no, I mean, Kelp, you got to understand something here. Obviously, this is going to derail the stuff. We probably won't get to, maybe we'll get to the Phoenix Chicago end of game stuff. Yeah, my chat groups are going nuts now. I wasn't ready for that. I thought he'd get the season, but I think there's also I think the darkness. You're right about that because we were keeping an eye on that game last night. I think for starters, I don't think anybody had him as first coach fired. Oh man. No, George, you're 100% right. Like that happened. There was an issue there, and I thought, okay, that's not a good sign. Lakers aren't firing him. Everybody needs to stop with that. He was Giannis's pick and lost Giannis that quickly is pretty impressive. I think the other thing is like when the players come to you and say, we don't like your defensive plan, we're going to just go back to what we've been doing, is also a problem. I just think they have, I mean, defensively they're fucked. They just don't have the players defensively, and I don't, no offense to Malik Beasley, but he ain't really a guy that makes me worry if I'm on the other offensive team. It didn't work out well. I don't know who will be the interim. We're waiting to hear that. I just don't. Wow, that was surprising. Yep, that caught me off guard. Look, when you take a team that's championship expectations, you have to play that part. And even though their record was there, they didn't look it. They haven't looked it at all. There's a lot of problems there. You trade for Dame, you're going to have a problem defensively, and you got to figure that stuff out. Wow. Is Joe Prunty still with them? I thought he was with Atlanta. They might have CD Wallace. I don't know. It's not surprising when you look at how the team's been playing. It is surprising. Yeah, it did break me a little bit, Zach. It is surprising that they actually did it, though. Why, Kelp? He's not a coach. He's not good at that. He is still there, then Joe Prunty's taking over. If Joe Prunty's still there, he's taking over. Yep. Woj just tweeted it out. The Milwaukee Bucks will strongly consider Doc Rivers. Whoo, buddy. Oh. I don't know if that's who I'd go with. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go with Doc. I'd rather I'd rather go back to Bud. Wow. Like, is Doc gonna take over mid-season? Like, that would be amazing. But there's one thing that I want you to understand too with the implications here. We all thought, myself included, once they got Dame, hey man, of course Doc will Doc would consider it. Um, Once they got Dame, we all kind of thought like, all right, like this team should be better. They've struggled a whole ton. But we also thought like Giannis is gonna stay. That's Giannis is definitely locked in. He's not leaving now. Anything like that. Um, the fact that this has been such a struggle now, you gotta wonder if, hey, what Giannis's mindset's gonna be. Giannis didn't sign an extension yet, right? I gotta make sure I'm not getting bad information. No, they shouldn't trade for Draymond. Stop it, Kelp. Then asses for head coach would be pretty funny. The Giannis, so Giannis not having signed an extension and whatnot, like that puts a lot of pressure on the organization right now to succeed. I mean, you may not win a championship this year, but you got to be at least in the Eastern Conference Finals for him to not like it. Listen, those teams, Miami, New York, those teams that had written off the Giannis stuff, man, I might just say like I might just keep an eye out, and that actually might make to go full circle. That might what really might fuck Miami is including the pick to get off of Kyle Lowry's contract. Let me check. I can't remember anymore who signed extensions and whatnot. Thank you, Zach. Never mind. He did. Okay, he did. Ignore everything I said then. That's fine. Okay. Ignore everything I said. Excuse me. Bad podcasting. I'm an idiot and forgot. Trade scenarios, though, if he might demand a trade, if he's like, hey, this just ain't working, and I don't see how we get better. Maybe. Um, you know, okay, so it gets interesting. All I'm saying is it might get interesting if he were to just say, "Hey, all of a sudden I demand a trade." Um, you guys are the best producers out there. Yeah, they could use. I mean, they could use DeJounte Murray. They don't have assets to get anything. They traded everything. Bobby Portis really going to move the needle for a team? Sorry. Yeah, but that doesn't get you, like, one, money wise, that doesn't get you where you need to be, I think. You also got to understand you got to make the salaries work. You know, like, I just don't see how it kind of works out. It's fascinating. I'm going to tweet out something to let people know I'm on, so. Just give me a second, folks. Doc would be Doc would be the choice, I think, in the sense of like Doc is probably the most high profile coach you can go get right now. I don't think Jeff Van Gundy's going to be a guy. I don't see a Stan. I don't see being a guy for them. Like Doc would be the most high profile coach you could get. And now Shams is reporting the same thing. Doc Rivers has emerged as a serious candidate to become the Milwaukee Bucks' new head coach, sources say. So it's probably going to be Doc. You know, what about Bud? Yeah, it'd be really funny if they brought Bud back. Hey, we made a mistake. Okay, Zach, again, why would the Bulls do that? I don't think the Bulls are trading DeRozan or Caruso. They want to trade Levine. They've actually kind of come back to life. Like, why would they trade that? You know, and if we have time, we'll get into that. Obviously, the breaking news kind of threw off the show here a little bit with all that fun stuff, with everything that we have going. But man, that's amazing. I like him. I don't think he's going to leave. He's in Golden State, right? I don't think he's going to leave them mid-season. Not after the stuff that they went through as an organization. No, RD. They're definitely, that is definitely something that's possible, is that Doc will sign there and they'll bring Austin Rivers. The Ringer is going to lose a bunch of people. Alex, what's up? You know, it's wild, man. It's wild. It is wild stuff, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm going to, again, get more out. Got to get more people in here. Got to get more here. Jaeger's a good one. I don't see it happening, though. It's going to be Doc. If they are already floating there, let me put it to you this way. They didn't fire Griffin without already knowing that Doc would probably take the job. That would be my guess. You know, it'll be very interesting. Be very, very interesting. So, okay, I don't think this is a rash decision. Because I think they're 30-13 and they feel like they're a team that really could be 5 games worse. They don't have a feel like, again, this isn't a rash decision. This isn't a rash decision. I think it's more the team itself doesn't believe in him. I think they've lost the locker room. I think there's already been stuff. There's already been whispers of things. Bobby Portis screaming in a locker room after one game. Like, there's a lot of stuff there. I think there's a lot of things that you're looking at that's like signs that like this is breaking apart. And I think the decision here that they made, and it's kind of a smart one. Dame isn't getting any younger. Giannis isn't getting any younger. Can't really risk it with Middleton. Let's just go. We got to get rid of him. Let's pull the plug. Let's bring in somebody else. We can't waste this season. Do it now in January. Bring in a big name coach and give him time to get everything going. And maybe we could salvage this and by the playoffs be ready to go. Here's the problem. They don't have defenders. There's a fundamental flaw within the construction of this team. I don't see how they can beat Boston. They don't have anybody on the wing that could defend. I don't know how they're going to be able to keep up with Tyrese Maxey with Philly. RD, I think this was a bad job to go with an inexperienced head coach when you were going to trade for Dame. This, I think, would have been a different team and a different situation had they kept Drew. It's not a. I don't blame them for that, with any of that stuff. I don't blame them, but I think they have a different scenario if they don't trade for Drew Holiday, right? And then they have all of that stuff. Trade for Dame, you have no off. You've basically given away your defense, and now you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. And this is a new head coach, right? When was the Dame trade? September. So everything has changed for the team. You can't do that, Zach. Honestly, you can't hire the guy and then fire him before he even gets a chance. The Stotts thing was huge. We talked about it when it happened. You know? No, I mean, that part wasn't good either, but, like, also they didn't hire Stotts to bring him in. And also, Stotts, I don't know if he fired Stotts as much as they had an altercation and Stotts said, I'm out of here. They could, but I'm telling you right now, until we hear otherwise, I'm thinking this is Doc. Until we hear otherwise, to me, it's Doc Rivers. I mean, I just feel like you don't make this move unless you kind of have like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, Doc's going to take the job. Pretty. I mean, man, you just cannot sit tight in the NBA. I mean, Chatham, that's not fully fair. I mean, Doc can still. I'm not the biggest Doc fan, but I think this is probably the best they could do right now. You're not going to do a never, you know, never been a coach in the league. You're not going to go with somebody that's not proven. Yeah, Doc has a lot of history of flameouts. I think it's really interesting. Ah, man. He charismatic as all hell, Zach. He'll get the guys going. Alex, I don't think Bud's interested in coming back. I was being facetious more about bringing Bud back. But if you could, they would. Like, I think Bud would have been better for this team with Dame because I think he would have put in more would have kept his defensive principles and would have worked with Dame on it. Chatham, they did and they didn't. I think he needed to go. I don't think it was a bad. I think it's easy to say now that they did him dirty, but I think that they had a whole lot going. Oh man. On his day off, that's the day to do it. I mean, it really could be, Alex. The only difference is they don't have a dude sitting on the bench like they did like Ty Lue. You know, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, but Mumford, the problem's their defense, man. That ain't, D'Antoni ain't doing that. D'Antoni's done in the league, man. I just can't see him getting a shot. Yes, you did. That was at the start. Yeah. Look, guys, I am gonna have to bail though because I'm gonna end up having to jump on and do an emergency podcast. Um, with all of that stuff. Mm. he's legitimately gonna have a chance to be a coach again, George. He could have had the Charlotte job and backed out. I think it's just a matter of him. I think that's just a matter of, he didn't want that job and was smart to kind of pull out of that. You know, shoot, folks, I think that's kind of it. I don't have much more. Chatham, again, I don't think you go with a unproven coach. Even I love Quinny. I was with him in San Antonio for a year. I love the dude. He's like, we always dap up whenever we see each other and have a chance to catch up. But man, I just don't know. I just don't know what it is. All right, I'm gonna table the Chicago Phoenix comeback. That was an incredible shot from KD, and yeah, if that news broke my brain, and now I got to jump on a emergency podcast for the Athletic. It'll be a quick one. You can jump on. It'll be on the YouTube channel. Make sure you enjoy that. All right. Nerders tomorrow. So there'll be a Nerder episode tomorrow. Gonna figure out. I'm gonna try to do another stream. Listen, if the Wemby Chet game tomorrow was awesome, I will probably do a breakdown of that on Thursday here on Twitch. So go ahead, give me a follow, subscribe if you really like that stuff. Sorry, today kind of today sort of blew up with breaking news, but that's the fun stuff, man. That's the fun stuff. With doing this stuff kind of live and getting to do these things with you. Thank you guys for coming through, and I will check you out next time.